It started with a twitch, a little flutter in your stomach. Like when you go over a bump in the road too fast. You probably ignored it, blamed it on that extra slice of pizza. But then your coffee mug, sitting innocently on the table, lifted an inch, just for a second, and then settled back down with a gentle clink. Weird, right? You weren't alone. All over the world, people were experiencing these tiny, baffling moments. A pen rolling off a desk, only to hover midair before dropping. A child's balloon refusing to come down. Scientists scrambled, running diagnostics, checking every sensor imaginable. Was it a magnetic anomaly? A solar flare of unprecedented scale? No theory stuck. The blips were too random, too localized, too playful. That evening, the real show began. It was around 8:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A moment now etched into the memory of humanity. It wasn't a sudden jolt. It was more like a slow, deliberate release. The twitch in your stomach returned. But this time, it didn't stop. It was a sustained feeling of lightness, of buoyancy. You looked down, and your feet were no longer quite touching the floor. Across the living room, your cat was drifting towards the ceiling, paws paddling uselessly in the air, a look of pure feline indignation on its face. Outside, the world was descending into a beautiful, terrifying chaos. Cars with their parking brakes on were gently lifting off the asphalt. Raindrops, which had been falling moments before, now hung suspended in the air like a billion tiny diamonds. The initial reaction wasn't panic. It was wonder. People drifted out of their homes, not falling up, but just floating. Children laughed, pushing off lampposts and soaring in gentle arcs. Lovers held hands, spinning slowly under the glow of the no unnecessary streetlights. It was a dream, a collective hallucination made real. For a few glorious hours, gravity had simply eased up. Not gone entirely, but dialed down to a whisper of its former self. We were all astronauts in our own neighborhoods. But dreams, as we all know, have a way of turning into nightmares. The novelty began to wear off as the implications sank in. How do you get down? That was the first, most pressing question. People who had floated too high were now stuck, drifting helplessly towards the upper atmosphere. The laughter died down, replaced by shouts for help. Inside hospitals, doctors and nurses were trying to perform surgeries while tethered to the beds. Patients, the drips, and expensive medical equipment were all bobbing around the room like a surrealist's art installation. The power grids, already strained, big and too frail. Without the constant pull of gravity holding everything in its place, delicate connections came loose. The world went dark, and the floating masses were illuminated only by the moon and the eerie, silent dance of suspended car headlights. The chaos truly took hold. Without gravity, water didn't stay in rivers or oceans. It began to rise in great, amorphous blobs, giant, shimmering masses of liquid that drifted inland, engulfing entire towns. In a slow-motion tsunami, the very air we breathed started to thin out at ground level, drifting upwards, making it harder and harder to get a full breath. The planet itself, no longer held in its perfect, delicate balance, began to show signs of stress. The tectonic plates, freed from immense pressure, shifted. Earthquakes rocked the globe, not with the familiar tremors we knew, but with the sickening, rolling motion that sent floating cities of debris crashing into each other. And then there were the people. We are, at our core, creatures of the ground. Our minds are built for up and down, for solid footing. When that was taken away, so was our sanity. The initial wonder curdled into primal fear. People clawed at anything, everything, trying to find an anchor in a world without one. Fights broke out over a tether, a handhold, anything that offered a semblance of stability. The beautiful dream of flight had become a prison of endless, empty space. We were adrift in our own sky, with nowhere to go but up. This new world demanded new rules. Survival became a three-dimensional problem. People learned to navigate by pushing off surfaces, becoming experts in ricocheting from one floating object to another. Rope and duct tape became more valuable than gold. Makeshift communities formed, clusters of people tethering their floating homes together, creating bizarre, floating islands of humanity. We learned to harvest the suspended water, to move in teams, to look out for each other in the endless, silent expanse. We became a new species, born of the sky. We were no longer bound by the earth. We were creatures of the wind, forever chasing a ground we might never feel again. But what caused it? Even as we adapted, the question haunted us. Was it an alien experiment? A glitch in the fabric of physics? A divine intervention? The smartest minds left on our floating planetoid worked tirelessly, sharing data across a patchy network of comms. The leading theory was unsettling. It suggested that gravity wasn't a fundamental force, but a field generated by something at the Earth's core. And that something was failing, dying. The night gravity failed wasn't a one-time event. It was the beginning of the end. Gravity wasn't just off, it was Fabine growing weaker by the day. We live with it now. The constant, gentle upward pull. We anchor our children. We wear weighted boots. We look at old pictures, at videos of people running, jumping, falling, and it seems like a miracle. We tell our children stories of the heavy times, of a world so powerfully stuck to the ground that you could run without floating away. They listen with wide eyes, unable to truly comprehend such a thing. They are the children of the float, the generation born into a lighter world. For them, this is normal. But for those of us who remember, we look up at the debris field that was once our sky, at the shimmer of the high-drifting oceans, and we feel a profound sense of loss. We lost our footing. We lost our world, and we have to wonder, as we drift through the silent twilight, if we'll ever get it back, or if we're all just waiting for the day it fades to zero. And we, along with everything we have ever known, finally and completely float away into the cold, dark void. Thanks for watching. If this story made you think, hit that subscribe button and join us for more journeys into the unknown.